I have had a crush on Gu Moshen for many years, and all my classmates know about it. Gu Moshen is from a single-parent family. His mother raised him since he was a child and supported his studies by selling scraps. Gu Moshen often skipped breakfast. So I insisted on squatting under the dormitory building every day to deliver breakfast to him. He took my love for granted, and I thought that this was accepting me, until one day, his mother was accidentally hit by a car while picking up scraps. The driver hit and ran and died before he could be rescued. He held my hand and cried, "Zhu Qing, I only have you now. Can you please not leave me?" I couldn't help feeling uncomfortable watching him hug me and cry. He said he couldn't fall behind in his studies because of a part-time job. So I worked 3 jobs a day, delivering takeout during the day, working part-time in the cafeteria at noon, and tutoring at night. Gu Moshen couldn't bring himself to apply for a scholarship, and all his living expenses and tuition were earned by me from working. He went abroad to study, and I paid his living expenses on time every month. He returned from studying abroad and became a new tech upstart in Beijing, but I panicked when I saw the beautiful dancer next to him. Gu Moshen warned me, "When Zhu Qing, you are not allowed to show up, and you are not allowed to let others know that my girlfriend in college is you," he said in front of the media. "Thank you Yan Ning for your perseverance in accompanying me when I was in college. Yan Ning is a very good girl. It is her support that makes me what I am today." Looking at the perfect couples surrounded by the media in front of them, wearing beautiful suits and dresses. Everyone sighed at their beautiful love, then look at the takeaway in his sweaty hand, ready to deliver. The time for delivering the takeaway was exceeded and I didn't dare to stay. But he was killed in a car accident on the way to deliver the takeaway. Before I died, I saw Gu Moshen's arrogant face. His assistant asked him, "Mr. Gu, do we need to call the police?" Gu Moshen squatted down and probed my breath with his fingers, looking at me with disdain. "No. A delivery man, if he dies, he dies." His eyes were dark. "It's just right that he died. Such a person is a stain on my life." I opened my eyes again and returned to college. Gu Moshen always loved to be late. Even when I brought him breakfast, he often made me wait for several hours downstairs. At this time, I was carrying breakfast downstairs in Gu Moshen's dormitory. God really had eyes, and I was reborn. I turned around without hesitation and stuffed the breakfast in my hand into my mouth in big mouthfuls. I returned to the dormitory, and my roommate joked with me, "Are you not going to be a bootlicker today?" I was not angry. In my previous life, I was too stupid because my parents often abused me because they favored boys over girls. They kicked me out of the house, beat me with a long bamboo stick in front of the neighbors, pulled my clothes, and scolded me, "Useless thing, get married soon." At this time, Gu Moshen put on a coat for me and asked me gently, "Are you okay, classmate?" It was he who saved me. I almost exposed myself in front of everyone. It happened that Gu Moshen gave me a little warmth and I was devoted to him. Back in the dormitory, I buried my head in my studies. In this life, I accepted that there are really parents in the world who don't love their children, and I also saw Gu Moshen clearly. At night, I received a call from Gu Moshen, who was crying on the other end of the phone. "Zhu Qing, can you come over? My mother was in a car accident." I hung up the phone. "Call an ambulance, call the police," Gu Moshen said to me in an imperative tone. 10 minutes, come immediately." In my previous life, I rushed over without stopping when I heard his call. I hung up the phone directly. My roommate Ningyu looked at me in confusion. "Whose call is it?" I smiled. "It's a salesperson." "It's okay." When I woke up, the sky was bright, and it rained all night last night. The next day at school, I saw Gu Moshen with dark circles under his eyes. He held my hand and looked at me with displeasure. "Why didn't you come to see me last night?" "Didn't I call you?" I smiled indifferently. "I know." I turned around and prepared to leave, and Gu Moshen called me loudly, "When Zhu Qing, don't you like me? I'll give you a chance. If you pass my assessment, I will be with you. If you miss it, you won't have a chance." All the classmates looked over. I slapped his hand away. "Thank you so much. You should keep such a good opportunity for yourself. You are so good. Just digest it yourself, and do Narcissus yourself." He looked at me with an ugly face, his eyes full of doubts. The classmates around him were also slightly shocked. Ningyu walked to my side and reached out to touch my forehead. "You don't have a fever." After being Gu Moshen's licker for 3 years, Ningyu was a little uncomfortable with me now. "Chuzi, if you have any difficulties, tell us, don't hide it." I smiled. "It's okay, I just let it go." I returned to the dormitory and received a text message from Gu Moshen. "My mother died in a car accident, and no one will give me living expenses in the future." I didn't reply to him. I met Gu Moshen while working part-time in the cafeteria. Gu Moshen spent lavishly, and laughed with his brother's arm in arm. "Brother, order whatever you want to eat, Buddy will treat you." His friends didn't know the real situation of his family, and thought he was a rich young man, so they ordered expensive meat dishes. His brother asked jokingly, "Hey, isn't this part-timer your girlfriend?" Gumoshen's face immediately darkened, and his expression was unhappy. Don't talk nonsense, okay? When Qingzhu and I are classmates, another brother immediately said, our brother Shin is so handsome, only Li Yaning, who is a dance major next door, can match him. When it comes to Li Yaning, Gumoshen's expression eased. I glanced at a few people coldly. After the part-time job ended, Gumoshen was waiting at the entrance of the canteen. He came forward and pulled me. Zhu Qing, I have no living expenses this month, give me some money. I shook his hand off. You have hands and feet, if you don't have money, then go to work. What does it have to do with me? Gumoshen looked at me in disbelief. You work part-time in the canteen just for me? My mother has passed away. Can you be more sensible? I have no money now. I sneered and left him. Gumoshen was fair and clean, and he looked good. Many girls liked him. I worked part-time because I planned to continue studying, but he thought I did it for him. I started to study when I returned to the dormitory and figured out all the knowledge points I didn't understand today. In the counselor's office, the counselor looked at me with satisfaction. Zhu Qing, in our major, you have the best ability, and your comprehensive test scores are all the first. And your average scores are also the first. The school has a guaranteed admission to graduate school. Take these materials back and fill them out, and give them to me after you have considered it. Looking at the information, I said happily, thank you, teacher. I almost shed tears when I walked out of the office. I was really happy. I spent countless days and nights doing countless questions in the college entrance examination to make a way out of the thousands of high school seniors. I studied hard for 4 years in college, but because I believed in love, I gave up the guaranteed admission to graduate school to Gumoshen. He returned home with a dancer beauty, and I became a delivery girl before I was 18. I ran away from the small town desperately to escape from my original family. That coat made me mistakenly think that Gumoshen was the person sent by God to love me, but I never thought that the so-called love was all abyss. Everything is inferior, only reading is high. In my previous life, the person I felt most sorry for was myself, who tried so hard to change my fate by studying before I was 18. I loved a man so much that I lost myself. The one who was stabbed was the girl who was looked down upon in the small town. In this life, I will love myself well. When I turned the corner, I heard a shrill voice, Brother Shin, is this true? The counselor said that only when Zhu Qing was admitted to graduate school in our class. Gumoshen said confidently, believe me. She will definitely give me the opportunity. Listening to his tone, it was as if he knew what I would do. A group of people laughed. Believe in Brother Shin. Didn't we make a bet at that time that this woman would definitely fall in love with Brother Shin just because he put a coat on her? I took a detour with the information in my arms. It was not because I was afraid of him, but because I didn't want to get involved with these people. I just wanted to study hard. When I walked to the door, the sky was bright outside. I caught the warm and bright light. After finishing the materials, I was about to go to the counselor's office to hand them in, when a voice called me from behind. When Zhu Qing, looking back, I saw a young man standing in the light, with a wound on his face and some blood on the wound. Song Yubai is the pride of our school, with good grades and a good family background, so Gumoshen has always been unhappy with him. He often complained about Song Yubai to me behind my back. His breathing was not stable, and it seemed that he ran over. His voice was clear. When Zhu Qing, give me the materials. I hid the materials behind me in fear. What? You are going to give up your admission to graduate school for that scumbag Gumoshen? Are you stupid? Can you open your eyes? You are so casual about life matters. I looked at him puzzledly. I haven't given up. He squinted his eyes and looked at me. Let me see it. Go to the office with you? I looked at him puzzledly, and he left with peace of mind until he confirmed that I was going to the office to hand in the admission materials. A week later, my admission to graduate school was confirmed, and the counselor announced it to all students in the class. Ningyu was happy for me, and she whispered in my ear, Zhu Zi, you are awesome. I looked down at the admission letter and smiled. After class, Gumoshen stopped me. What's going on? You will obviously give up the admission qualification, and it is obviously mine. When Zhu Qing, what are you doing? I sneered. It is obviously me who is admitted to graduate school. What does it have to do with you? I am the first in comprehensive test and average score. Do you have any doubts? Gumoshen said to himself, impossible, impossible. You obviously gave me the opportunity to take the postgraduate entrance examination, so I can go abroad. I laughed. It seems that Gumoshen has also been reborn. He doesn't know. I am also reborn. The class dispersed, and Ningyu and I prepared to go back to the dormitory. A clear voice fell from above my head. Song Yubai had a messy hair. The light from the window fell on the swirl on the top of his hair. He looked at me lazily. Finally learned to be smart. I looked at the person in front of me. In the last life, even if Gumoshen hated Song Yubai, he could not reach Song Yubai's height. Gumoshen often said that Song Yubai is just from a better family. If his family is average, he is just like that. Song Yubai did not rely on his family to start a business. When he returned to China to develop, he even surpassed the Song family's industry. After saying this, Song Yubai left. Ningyu looked at me in surprise. Oh my god, Shuzi, when did you get together with Song Yubai? I glared at Ningyu. What good is good? Ningyu looked at his back in a trance. Song Yubai is a celebrity in our school, good grades, good family background, good looks, beat Gu Moshen, the Phoenix Man. Song Yubai suddenly broke into my life. After that, he often came up to talk to me. He was famous for being quiet in school. There were many girls who had a crush on him, but he ignored them, so the girls didn't dare to talk to him. Ningyu smiled and whispered to me, "Does he like you?" I frowned. I thought a lot and decided to have a good chat with Song Yubai. I made an appointment with Song Yubai to meet in the coffee shop and brought a document I wrote. He arrived much earlier than me in the coffee shop. I sat down and took a deep breath to give myself courage. Song Yubai looked at my nervous look. He glanced at the white paper in my hand, took a sip of coffee, and leaned lazily on the chair. Love letter. You are not going to confess to me. I'm not mentally prepared yet. I blushed instantly. Why does he make jokes about everything? He is not as quiet as others say, because he was right. He saw the pink envelope in the file bag, which was obviously a love letter, but the love letter is not mine, the document is. I handed the pink love letter to him. Hey, a junior schoolmate asked me to give it to you just now. Song Yubai raised his eyelids and looked at me nonchalantly. It's not from you, then I won't accept it. This is what I gave you. I handed him the white document to look at. The document contains my plan for software development and my views on the future economic situation. I want to seize the trend of the times in my new life. ByteDance is the driving force of future development, and these are my views on the future development of the internet. Song Yubai is very good at computers, and he can do both code and software development, including the first capital he saved for his business at that time by doing things related to the internet. I understand what I am good at. And I also understand what Song Yubai is good at, so working with Song Yubai is a strong combination. He looked at the document with a serious expression, and looked up at me after reading it. I was a little nervous. And it was not easy to make him trust that I could do it. Besides, Song Yubai is smart. I happened to meet Gu Moshen and a group of people in the coffee shop. He ordered the most expensive small cake and the signature drink of the coffee shop. He had no money but dared to spend recklessly and pretended to be a big shot in front of his friends. Seeing me and Song Yubai sitting in the corner, he came over with a cup of coffee and said sarcastically, "Hey, isn't Mr. Song the richest in the family? How come you can't even afford to order a small cake, and you, Wen Zhuqing, have changed your favorite? It seems that your favorite is just like that, Wen Zhuqing. I'll give you a chance. Throw this cup of coffee on Song Yubai, and I will be with you." I smiled at Gu Moshen, picked up the water in front of me and stood up. Gu Moshen thought I was really going to throw water at Song Yubai, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Song Yubai also watched with interest what I would do next. I quickly poured the water on Gu Moshen's face. Before Gu Moshen could react, the water was flowing on his face. "It's so hot. I see your mind is not clear. Then I'll ask you to cool down. Don't tell everyone that I like you, okay? I was blind before, but now my eyes are fine." Gu Moshen was embarrassed when he heard a low mockery from Gu Moshen's friend's table. I picked up the documents and walked out with Song Yubai's hand. After walking for a while, we both stopped. Song Yubai looked at me. His eyes were deep, and his dark pupils made it impossible to explore what he was thinking. "You have changed." I was a little surprised to hear him say this. It was as if he knew me very well. Even though we were college classmates for several years and we only became familiar with each other when we were about to graduate, I asked him, "What has changed?" He smiled at me, his eyes raised. "Personality. And you don't like Gu Moshen anymore." I shrugged indifferently. "I don't like him anymore. It's not worth it." He sent me to the dormitory building, and I turned around to go in, and he called me, "Wen Zhuqing." His voice was clear, and the hot wind in the air carried his voice into my ears. It seemed to give people a feeling of heartbeat. "I think your idea is very good. Let's cooperate." My eyes flashed with joy. "See you tomorrow." I walked into the dormitory building with a cheerful pace, and looked up to see Ningyu upstairs looking at me with a telescope. Back to the dormitory. Ningyu looked at me with a mysterious and gossipy look. "Tell the truth." I looked at Ningyu in confusion. "Tell what? Did you and Song Yubai succeed?" I shook my head. It really worked. A sharp explosion sounded in my ears. "Oh my god. You picked this high-ranking flower so easily. That's awesome, sister." I grabbed the document in my hand. "It's not that I got together with him, it's that our cooperation was successful. We are not together." Ningyu said, "Okay. Since I stopped liking Gu Moshen, my life has become colorful, and I have more time to pay attention to the beautiful things around me." The next day, Gu Moshen appeared on the confession wall. He held a bouquet of roses and knelt on one knee in front of Li Yawning. In the video, Li Yawning looked surprised, and the people around her were cheering and shouting, "Be together, be together, be together." Li Yawning smiled shyly and took the flowers from Gu Moshen's hand. Gu Moshen shouted, "Yawning, Are you willing to be with me? Lee yawning. I do. In front of the public, they hugged each other. This video was sent to me privately by Gu Mosen. This video went viral on the internet. When I went to school, Gu Mosen and Song Yubai were standing downstairs in the dormitory. Gu Mosen came to the girls' dormitory to wait for Lee yawning. I don't know why Song Yubai appeared downstairs. I pretended not to see Gu Mosen and left. Gu Mosen held my hand and whispered in my ear. Don't you just like Song Yubai's money? 3 years later, I will be among the top 10 richest people in Beijing. By then, even if you beg me on your knees, I will not pay attention to you. I smiled slightly. Does he really think that he can continue his studies with such an unlearned person? Song Yubai walked to my side, looking a little unhappy. Song Yubai and I walked to the class together. He looked at me with mist in his eyes and his voice was a little aggrieved. Do you still like him? I groaned. No more. Hearing this, he suddenly laughed. After class, Song Yubai asked me to go to the cafeteria for dinner. He said he wanted to talk about starting a business. Gu Mosen didn't come to class all morning. I heard that Gu Mosen waited for Lee yawning downstairs of the girls' dormitory for a whole morning. In the next few weeks, Gu Mosen often skipped classes. I heard that he skipped classes and followed Lee yawning every day. The teacher was very angry and said, if anyone is crazy about love like a certain classmate, drop out of school as soon as possible. If anyone shares a dormitory with a certain classmate, tell him that if he doesn't come back, he will fail the course. Even so, Gu Mosen still didn't attend classes. He felt that the diploma was not important at all, and instead laughed at those of us who attended classes on time and didn't skip classes. What's the big deal? Go to class every day. It's better to have a relationship anyway. I can become a new technology upstart in Beijing in the future. It seems that Gu Mosen feels that his success in the previous life was destined by fate and not the result of hard work. I stay with Song Yubai every day, but not for love. It's for the school's innovation and entrepreneurship competition. If you get first place in this competition, the school will provide a sum of startup funds. I looked at Song Yubai with some doubts. He could go back to work at the Song Group directly. So why did he work so hard? Song Yubai has excellent grades and a wealthy family. He can just lie down and live his whole life. When I went to the toilet, I accidentally heard the conversation between Song Yubai and his brother. Brother you, why are you working so hard? Your family can provide you with startup funds, but you only get a little money to participate in the startup competition. Song Yubai said, it feels better to work hard with her. The money provided by my parents comes too easily, so it's easy to slack off. Back to the original position, we started working on the computer again. He is responsible for writing code and software development. I am responsible for collecting information on the internet and designing software layout. Gu Mosen often shows a sarcastic expression when he passes by us. He thinks he is a rich man in the future, so he starts to look down on classmates who study hard. It can be said that the situation has changed. In the past, I waited in the boys' dormitory every day to send him breakfast, and now he waits downstairs every day to send food to Lee yawning. He waited downstairs in the wind and rain. Lee yawning frowned and blamed him. It's cold. What should I eat? Can you pay more attention? Before the innovation conference, I took a deep breath and felt a little nervous. I smelled a light mint scent, like the scent of Song Yubai. As if his presence made people feel at ease, he looked into my eyes. Treat everyone in the audience as potatoes, and you won't be nervous. Song Yubai tried to ease my nervousness. He said, when you feel that you can't do it, just stand on the sidewalk, then you will be a pedestrian. We smiled at each other. After hearing his words, my nervousness disappeared instantly. On the stage, we cooperated very well. When he got off the stage, he touched my head, and the stage lights shone on half of his face, making him look gentle. You are great, I replied. You too. Sitting in the audience, waiting for the results to be announced. As expected, both of us got the money. I smiled. My eyebrows curved. I felt a hot light looking at me, and I turned my head carefully. I saw Song Yubai's eyes were burning. For a moment, my heartbeat slowed down by half a beat. The smile in his eyes was careless, as if he was not embarrassed at all because I caught him peeking. He still looked at me frankly, and his low voice filled my ears. I could vaguely hear him say, fortunately, your life trajectory has changed. I smiled and replied, yes. I was so happy that I didn't pay much attention to his words. The love story between Gu Mosen and Lee yawning was a hot topic, and even the teacher knew about it. Gu Mosen's original grades were good but not as good as mine, and the teacher was also optimistic about him. The teacher talked to Gu Mosen privately, but Gu Mosen said, teacher, I know better than you what I will do in the future. I will open my own company in the future, and I won't need these things. I won't work for others. The teacher shook his head helplessly, and saw me and Song Yubai at the door with a smile on their faces, and greeted us. Come in. Gu Mosen passed by the two of us, and the sarcasm on his face was obvious. The teacher said some encouraging words to us and let us leave, walking to the dormitory building. I happened to see Lee yawning. Lee yawning was followed by a boy. Hugging that boy, I looked at Lee yawning in confusion and left. back to the dormitory, I continued to prepare for entrepreneurship. The matter of postgraduate study was almost certain, so I was not too worried now. Ningyu suddenly opened the door. Zhu Zi, good news, good news. Gu Mozhen had a fight with someone downstairs. Ningyu dragged me downstairs. I saw that Gu Mozhen had bruises on his face, and the boy who fought with him was the one who had just hugged Li Yaning. I roughly guessed the reason for the fight. Li Yaning wore a beautiful Chanel-style skirt and stepped on thin high heels, watching indifferently. Gu Mozhen suddenly came forward and pulled me over. He questioned me, "It's all your fault. If you had worked and earned money for me, I wouldn't be like this now. I wouldn't have been with Yanning so early. Why didn't you come on the day my mother had a car accident? If you had come, these things would definitely not have happened." Even now, Gu Mozhen is still thinking about his love. I whispered in his ear, "Guess who killed your mother and ran away? If I hadn't been there in your previous life, you wouldn't have been able to pass the postgraduate entrance examination or go abroad." Gu Mozhen looked at me with surprise in his eyes. "You are back too." I said the last sentence. His mother's death was caused by Li Yanning, and the person who ran away was Li Yanning. The goddess he had been thinking about killed his only relative in this world with her own hands. "Do you know who was the person who ran away after your mother had a car accident?" "It was Li Yanning." Gu Mozhen looked at me and then at Li Yanning. I was about to turn around and leave, but Gu Mozhen suddenly knelt down. "Zhu Qing, please forgive me, I was wrong." Gu Mozhen is actually an extreme egoist. He likes Li Yanning because she is beautiful. He was ambiguous with me when he was poor and destitute. He knew that my original family lacked love, so he deliberately treated me coldly and hotly, making me willing to work and earn money to pay for his tuition. In his previous life, he gave me a flickering hope, me, brainwashed me that he was the only person who loved me most in the world, and made me devoted to him. When he was successful, he abandoned me without hesitation and was with Li Yanning, and in this life, he didn't know that he was not the only one who came back. Looking at his crocodile tears, I found it funny. He just held my hand. A person rushed out of the crowd and protected me and left. It was Song Yubai. He pulled me and kept running out of the crowd, away from those dirty gossips. Don't believe him, okay? This proud young man seemed to be speaking to me in such a humble manner for the first time. Seeing Song Yubai like this, I was a little dazed for a moment. There was a red warning on the school bulletin board. It was Gu Moshen's. His name was on the bulletin board. The content was probably that he was punished, and he had failed too many courses, so his graduation would be delayed. Ningyu sat next to me during class and whispered to me, "Zhu Zi, I heard that Gu Mozhen broke the hand of Li Yanning's other boyfriend. The man's hand is said to be disabled." I don't know how much strength Gu Mozhen had at the time to be so angry. I just felt that God opened his eyes and the evildoers would be punished. Gu Mozhen came in with a dark face for class, and the counselor forced him to come. His face was gloomy, his eyes were dark, and he looked very embarrassed. When the get out of class was over, he stopped me and asked if we could talk. I refused. He actually shouted in front of all the classmates, "Everyone stop and listen to me." A group of people surrounded us. Gu Mozhen looked at me affectionately. I was wrong, Zhu Qing. It was Li Yanning who seduced me. I don't like her. At this time, he still wanted to poo me and blamed his mistakes on others. Once again, Song Yubai pushed the crowd and walked to my side. "Let's go, don't listen to his nonsense." Ningyu made a face at Gu Mozhen. Lilialu, Song Yubai and I both laughed. Ningyu blushed, and we thought her action just now was very cute. The boy who was beaten by Gu Mozhen was the only son in the family. He had a good family background and it was impossible for him to be let go easily. The boy's parents found the school, and the big and strong men surrounded Gu Mozhen and beat him up in the alley. He was in the corner of the alley. His eyes and nose were black and blue. The blood at the corner of his mouth was constantly flowing out. I saw it, but I turned a blind eye. I ignored his request for help. Just like in my previous life, I was scolded for delivering food overtime, and I was accidentally killed while riding a bicycle. But Gu Mozhen passed by me but never called the police for me. He was secretly happy that I died, because in his eyes, I was the failure of his life. He had no gratitude towards me. He felt that I was no longer worthy of him with my current status, and he didn't want the media to find out that his ex-girlfriend was now a deliverer man. He despised me for being a deliverer man, and it was embarrassing. But the money for his studies at that time was all earned by me by delivering food one by one. He whispered in the corner of the alley, "When Zhu Qing, please help me." There were people coming and going here, and soon someone would notice him. I just looked at him and left. Gu Mozhen was sent to the hospital by passers-by, and he didn't even have money for treatment. He sent me a WeChat message to borrow money, and I directly refused. Gu Mozhen actually posted it online to hang me. He said I watched someone die without helping. There were also people who bullied me online, but they were quickly suppressed and exposed what Gu Mozhen had done. Gu Mozhen PUA me for 3 years during college. I took screenshots of the chat records, all of which were him ordering me to bring him breakfast, and the records of me transferring money to him. The chat records were all him PUAing me. Everyone in the comment area thought he was a scumbag. Everyone began to feel sorry for me. Song Yubai hurried to the downstairs of my dormitory, and he was relieved to see me come out. He had a pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes under his messy hair, and he looked very young under the street lights. He walked up to me and asked me, "Do you want to go out and play?" I thought about it and agreed. We have been running around for a long time for entrepreneurship recently, so it's okay to go out and relax. I asked him, "Where are we going?" He said, "Amusement park." When I heard the word amusement park, it was like a volcano erupting in my heart. Before I die, the place I want to go most is the amusement park, but I don't have time to go there because I have to save money, and I can't bear to spend the money. He took my hand and ran with me. I looked at his back as he held my hand. He was wearing a white t-shirt, and the summer night breeze blew into his hem, making a bulge. He looked back at me, and his seemingly cold and proud smile hit my heart. When we arrived at the amusement park, it was very bright inside. He had already bought the tickets. Under the Ferris wheel, he took my hand and said, "Would you like to sit?" I nodded. The Ferris wheel reached the top, overlooking the entire city, and the prosperity of the city was in full view. Song Yubai looked down at me, and I looked at the scenery below. I heard that if you make a wish when the Ferris wheel reaches the top, it will come true. I looked at him with bright eyes. Really? He nodded at me.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you, I put my hands together and made a wish. I hope my business will be successful, and I want to be one of the top 10 women on the list of the richest people in Beijing. Hearing this, Song Yubai smiled lightly, and I looked back at him, and his eyebrows raised slightly. "I can do it." I heard a very light voice, and he said, "Then I hope you will be safe every year, after graduation." I gave up postgraduate studies because Song Yubai and my company are getting good. I chose to focus on my career between studies and career, because I was afraid of being poor. We are very busy every day, and he and I have become the best partners. The company is getting better and is also expanding. After graduation, Gu Moshen went to deliver food. He didn't get a college diploma, so many companies didn't want him. He delivered food to our company. I glanced at him hurriedly, and there was no ripple in my heart. I rushed to the next meeting. He suddenly knelt on the ground, begging me with tears and snot, "Can you lend me some money?" I called the security guard to drive him out. I just learned that when Gu Moshen was in college, he thought he would be the president of a listed company after graduation, so he started to borrow money at high interest rates and thought he would be able to pay it back after graduation. His current loans are a bottomless pit. The loan shark company urged him to pay back the debt, and he hid. Now he is as thin as a bamboo pole, and he will fall down if the wind blows. We are interested in developing overseas industries, and overseas development requires someone to go to new overseas companies. It was New Year's Day, and we sat in a pub by the sea. We were slightly drunk, and the time was exactly midnight. We were watching fireworks outside, and the moment the fireworks exploded, the whole sky suddenly became colorful. I still felt the hot eyes around me. I saw him looking at me from the corner of my eye, but his eyes never avoided, and were always open. The fireworks exploded, and the crowd around surged, and everyone exclaimed. Just then, I was looking at the fireworks in the sky, and I heard someone next to me say, "I like you." My heartbeat slowed down. I pretended not to hear it, and still looked at the fireworks in the sky. It turns out that the arrogant boy also has fears. He dared to confess to me because of the hustle and bustle, but I dared to look at him because of the crowd, because I dare not love someone again. I don't have the courage to try a new relationship again. The next day, I proposed that I go to a new company overseas. I thought a lot. I can't waste time on men. At the airport, we looked at each other for the last time, and we understood each other tacitly. The overseas company developed better and better, and under my leadership, it became larger and larger, until the overseas company really developed steadily and I returned to China. I don't know why I want to return to China, but I feel that I shouldn't escape. At that time, I chose to go abroad for my career and to escape from my heart. I am afraid that I will repeat the same mistakes after falling in love. When I returned to China, I was surrounded by many multimedia, and the media were full of curiosity about me. They couldn't believe that a woman could get to where she is today. Before I went to the overseas company, some people questioned whether I was being kept by someone, but today I can finally fight back. Living a better and better life is the best fight back. I saw familiar faces outside the crowd. There was Song Yubai and Gu Moshen. Gu Moshen was carrying takeaway food, while Song Yubai was holding roses. Gu Moshen and I looked at each other, and then a while later, he received a call and left in a hurry. There were no vehicles on the street just now, but when Gu Moshen was riding his bike, a car rushed out at a very fast speed. He fell in a pool of blood, and this scene overlapped with his previous memories. Our life trajectory changed. The reporter discovered two big news at once, and the reporters around him rushed to the scene of the accident to shoot. Song Yubai looked at me, and I looked at him. I took his roses and a red velvet box, extra from Song Yubai's perspective. When the freshman year started, I saw a girl. Everyone was running to the dormitory, but she was the only one running into the rain with an umbrella. It was raining heavily, and she was holding a towel in her hand. I glanced at her quickly and ran away. I saw her holding a dying kitten in the rain with a towel. She was soaked and worried about whether the kitten was injured. She ran back to the dormitory building with the kitten in her arms and an umbrella. The next morning, I found that the girl from last night was actually in the same class as me. Her name is Wen Zhuqing. She didn't look very well and kept sneezing. After class, I went to the infirmary to buy a box of cold medicine. I thought she caught a cold from the rain last night. I put the cold medicine on her desk and she smiled. She walked towards another boy with the cold medicine. The boy was called Gu Mozhen. She said to the boy, "Thank you for the medicine." The boy actually said, "You're welcome." I knew Wen Zhuqing had misunderstood. My assistant told me that Wen Zhuqing's parents wanted to arrange a ghost marriage with her. I was very angry. Wen Zhuqing's parents cried in the lobby of the hospital, "Look, what's the point of having a daughter? My daughter died at a young age, and the money in the card can't be withdrawn. I didn't even get her betrothal gift before she died. Is it wrong for me to arrange a ghost marriage for her?" I gave her parents 100,000 yuan. She is priceless in my heart, but her parents don't deserve it. The assistant found out that Wen Zhuqing's death was not an accident, but man-made. Gu Mozhen was afraid that the university affairs would be dug out, and he was afraid that Wen Zhuqing would disturb his love, so he asked someone to hit her to death. Seeing him hugging me and crying, I couldn't help feeling uncomfortable. Finally his company went bankrupt. I was very tired. I often thought that it would be better if I had stopped them from being together at that time. I was in front of Wen Zhuqing's grave, and it suddenly rained heavily. I caught a cold. When I opened my eyes again, I was actually in the dormitory. I was actually reborn. If I live again, I will never let the things of my previous life happen again. I want to protect Wen Zhuqing, and I will try every means to get close to her. I suddenly found that Wen Zhuqing has changed. She doesn't like Gu Mozhen anymore. I found that she has also been reborn.